In the 18th century, information possessed a literal physical weight. News was pressed into heavy parchment by hand, packed into the damp holds of wooden ships, and carried across deadly oceans. This is the August 4th, 1720 edition of the American Weekly Mercury. When a colonist in Philadelphia unfolded this single broadsheet, they were instantly plugged into a vast, volatile network. They absorbed dispatches from London, Germany, Jamaica, Cuba, and New York simultaneously. These few pages compress terrifying global volatility right next to routine colonial administration. By scanning the foreign, naval, and maritime columns of this specific issue, we can reconstruct the exact hierarchy of dangers facing the British Empire at the edge of the known world. This newspaper operates as a survival ledger for a highly precarious, interconnected society. Starting directly under the masthead, the first dispatch arrives via London, detailing a sudden political crisis in the German city of Ulm. The text notes that local magistrates turned on a specific religious faction, forcibly expelling the heads of the Capuchin monks. The dispute escalated rapidly when city officials ordered the physical dismantling of the cloister to expand their own city boundaries. The Holy Roman Emperor responded with a blunt directive: use military execution. This meant deploying armed troops to force the magistrates to rebuild the monastery at gunpoint. Refusing to comply, the Ulm magistrates deployed a dangerous escalation tactic of their own, requesting military aid from the Protestant Swiss cantons. A local property dispute over a single building risked drawing in neighboring Protestant and Catholic powers. For a reader in America, a continent-wide religious war in Europe meant inevitable violence spilling directly into their own ports. Shifting focus to the violently contested frontier of the Caribbean, the Jamaica Dateline reports on a continuous, undeclared naval conflict. Off the coast of Hispaniola, the British Devonshire sloop found itself engaging hostile forces. The English captain utilized a tactical deception. He used a recently captured privateer ship as bait, intentionally drawing two larger Spanish cruisers toward his hidden main vessel. Once in range, the encounter devolved into a brutal 5-hour close-quarters firefight, stretching late into the night. The captain's direct report details the high cost of the boarding actions. The Spanish suffered 25 dead, while the British sustained 4 killed and 19 wounded. Just below this report, another dispatch details a separate, massive engagement near Havana, involving His Majesty's ship Ludlow Castle. The Ludlow Castle found itself severely outgunned, a single British vessel facing down 3 massive Spanish men of war simultaneously. Under heavy fire, the British ship lost its 4 topmost, a critical structural failure that left the vessel highly vulnerable in the water. The crew was only saved by the sudden arrival of another ship, the Mary, which provided enough covering fire to force the Spanish fleet to break off and retreat to Havana. Official treaties signed in European capitals meant little in the Caribbean. The colonial economy relied on these crews fighting a lethal daily war of attrition just to keep the shipping lanes open. Turning to the second page, a dense block of text reports on a massive homeward-bound convoy caught in a severe storm. Extreme winds overpowered the military escort, HMS Milford, driving the warship directly onto the rocky coast of Cuba. Of the 164 souls aboard the escort, only 35 managed to survive the wreck. The rest were pulled under. Below the Milford, the paper prints a chilling inventory of the merchant vessels that followed it into the storm. Scanning the list, the phrases "none saved" and "all lost" repeat over and over next to ships like the Asia. Among the broader statistics sits a single stark anecdote. Captain Lamming of the Lewis saved his men, only to die of exhaustion on the shore. Naval battles and geopolitical friction commanded attention, but the unfeeling, raw power of the Atlantic Ocean remained the ultimate arbiter of colonial success or ruin. Returning to the front page, the paper pivots sharply from maritime tragedy to routine domestic administration in New York. The column details an anniversary celebration for King George's accession to the throne, marked by militia drills and artillery fire from the local fort. While sailors drowned off Cuba and religious war threatened Europe, the gentlemen of New York spent their evening drinking fine wine by illuminated bonfires. Panning to the top right column of the second page, The advertisements reveal how this sprawling, contradictory network of information physically functioned. An advertisement introduces William Hill, offering his services as a swift and trusty messenger on foot or horse. Men like Hill were the critical physical infrastructure. They rode through dense forests and brutal weather to connect fragile outposts, ensuring news reached its readers. This single document captures the severe cognitive dissonance required to live in the 18th century. To read the news in 1720 was to hold the extreme contrasts of empire in your hands. The routine administration of a growing colony sat just ink strokes away from devastating natural destruction and visceral warfare.
The Daily Dispatch, history in print. No modern gloss, no modern hint, just black and white.